in whether people die in their jobs?
No.
It's just irrelevant. We're about to talk about migration again, but not in the usual way.
Okay, so I'm not sure if you guys have seen this clip from Matthew Wright on LBC. Now, with respect, I think the premise of the question that Matthew's asking here is backwards. Entrepreneurs don't make relocation decisions based on emotion or politics. They respond to incentives. Okay, so if a country raises, the cost of operating, increases regulatory friction, and then just signals that success is just going to be heavily penalized, then it's inevitable that some business owners will just start to naturally look at jurisdictions that are more competitive. It's common sense. And this isn't a case of betrayal like the British media seems to be pushing a lot at the moment. This is just rational economic behavior. It's easy for a radio host to sit in the studio in London and start to criticize the decision making of entrepreneurs that just have the means to operate from a different jurisdiction. You have to remember, these entrepreneurs have built businesses on UK soil. Most still have those businesses there. So they're still putting into the system and still paying heavy taxes, which those are the same taxes that fund the country that you're broadcasting from. And you're sitting there shocked. A British business person is paying VAT, corporation tax, national insurance, business rates, PAYE, income tax, corporation tax, probably capital gains tax, and also probably stamp duty as well. Plus all the other hidden taxes and friction that the UK decide to put in the way to make it hard for business owners to actually thrive. So if you think about it this way, if you're paying all of those taxes that I've just mentioned, then congratulations, because you've defied all odds, because almost all businesses don't make it past the first 5 years. Only a third make it to a decade. So if you are one of the fortunate ones that decided to take that risk and be in a position to pay those taxes, then of course it will feel like you're being penalized. And also, of course, a radio host wouldn't actually have a clue how that feels. So if you look at Dubai, for example, it's very deliberately positioned itself as a place that welcomes capital, welcomes entrepreneurship, lowers taxes, a clear policy stance that economic growth is actually a priority. So rather than asking why individuals leave, a more serious question would be, why policy environments sometimes make leaving the rational choice. Because if the UK was in a better economic position, improved government spending, improved decision making, improved safety, then maybe leaving, wouldn't even be a consideration. Because, if Britain wants to retain entrepreneurs, attract investment, attract talent, and, grow its actual tax base, the discussion it should probably be less focused on criticizing those that relocate. And it should be more focused on whether the current policy framework is actually competitive in a global economy. Now, the tax discussion only ever seems to come up when you talk about Dubai or the UAE, because I never hear criticism on those moving to any other jurisdiction. And there's jurisdictions that also have favorable tax incentives on foreign income too. But for some reason, the British media are very, very selective on firstly what topics they cover. Whether it's this type of topic, whether it's a topic of war, they're very, very selective of what they cover. But again, Matthew, you're known for making mistakes and known for saying things just to get attention when you're live on air.